Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm Kerry. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet a golden retriever, which was a request I received. These small ones I've worked in 3 different lots of colours. One I pat regularly is a darker dog with a lighter blaze. I'll work this dog today, but adjust your colours to what your dog looks like. When crocheted using 8-ply yarn and a 3mm hook, the large one, the size is 13.5 centimetres wide by 14.5 centimetres or 5¼ inches wide by 5 3/4. This medium dog, crocheted using 4-ply crochet cotton and a 1.5mm hook, is 9.5 centimetres square or 3 3/4 inches square. These small golden retrievers, crocheted using 2-ply crochet cotton and a 1mm hook, are 7 centimetres square or 2 3/4 inches square. I'll be using Catona cotton, so the size will be a bit smaller than this large one. I'll tell you the size at the end of the video. I'll be using Catona cotton. I've got 383 ginger gold, 179 topaz, 110 black and 130 old lace. I've got a 2.5mm crochet hook, scissors, a darning needle to weave in the ends, sewing thread and a needle to stitch it together, and the pink to embroider on the tongue and the black to embroider on eyes. Now I'm starting on the muzzle. I've got my 130, the old lace, and we make a magic loop. There's lots of ways to make a magic loop, so make it how you feel most comfortable. I just put my hook on the yarn, bring the short end over the hook and then the long end over the short end to make a circle, yarn around the hook and bring my hook with the yarn at the end through the circle, and that's the magic loop. Then we work 1 chain. Into our circle we work 3 single crochet. A single crochet is a double crochet using UK terms. For a single crochet we put the hook into the circle and bring through a loop, yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops. So 2 more single crochet into our circle. Then we work 1 half double crochet. A half double crochet is a half treble using UK terms. For a half double crochet we put the yarn around the hook, hook in through the circle and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. Then we work 3 double crochet into our circle. A double crochet is a treble using UK terms. For a double crochet we put the yarn around the hook, hook into the circle and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops. We need 2 more double crochet. Then we work 1 half double crochet and 1 single crochet. Then we pull our circle tight, so we take hold of this tail and ease it in as tight as we can, and then join with a slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. So we put our hook into the top of that first stitch there and bring through a loop and take it straight through the loop on the hook, and then we fasten off. And that's the muzzle done. We're going to work black around half of it, but I'll weave in these ends to make it easier. Now I've got my 110, the black, and we're going to work around this thicker end of the muzzle. So join about halfway down. I'll join in that stitch there, and then we work one slip stitch in each stitch around till we're even with our join. So just put your hook into the stitch, I'm just working into the back loop only, and bring through a loop. So hook into the stitch and bring the loop through the loop on the work. So I'm even with the other side, so we fasten off. And that's around the muzzle. Now for the head, I've got a bit of black just there under the mouth. The first row is worked with black. So we start with 4 chain. For row 1, we work 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, 1 double crochet into the next stitch, that's a treble using UK terms, and 1 single crochet into the last stitch. Now we're going to join in the 179, the topaz. So I just put a loop over my hook and then just bring it through and pull the black tight and work 1 chain and turn my work, and we're going to work 1 single crochet in each of our 3 stitches. I'm going to work over these 2 tails just to bring them in a bit so there's not so much weaving in. Just pull them a bit tighter. So just 1 single crochet into each of the 3 stitches. And then I'll just cut off the black. For row 3, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 4, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of the 5 stitches. For row 5, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each stitch. For row 6, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. So we put our hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, and then hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop. There's 3 loops on the hook. We put the yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. We work 1 single crochet into the next stitch and a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 7, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 double crochet into the next stitch, that's a treble using UK terms, and 1 single crochet into the last stitch. And that's the head, except for the neatening row. We don't turn or fasten off. We start with one chain and we work one single crochet in each stitch down until we get to the black. Then we work one slip stitch in each stitch of the black. And then one single crochet into each stitch to the end of the row. And then slip stitch into the first stitch and fasten off. And that's the head done. I'll just weave in these ends and I'll be back and we'll work the ears. Now for this first ear I've got my 383 the ginger gold, and I find my top stitch at the top of the head. I've got two across the top, so I'll join 3 stitches down from the top stitch on the side I'm joining. So this stitch here, and we start with 5 chain. We work one slip stitch and one single crochet in the second chain from the hook. One half double crochet into the next chain, and then one single crochet into each of the last 2 chains. And slip stitch into the same stitch as our join and fasten off. And that's the first part of the ear. For around the ear we join the 179, the topaz, 2 stitches before our ear. So just up in here. We work one single crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the join there. That will just push the ear down a bit. Then one single crochet into each of the first 2 stitches down the outside of the ear. Then one slip stitch into each stitch to the end of the ear. Then Once you're at the end of the year, work 2 chain and slip stitch into this second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch into the bottom part of the ear and work 1 slip stitch into each of the next 3 stitches up the side of the ear. And fasten off. I'll leave a bit of a longer tail because I'll use that to stitch the ear down against the side of the head there. It just stitches down like that. Now I'll weave in these 3 ends. I'll leave this one not woven in, and then I'll be back and we'll work this other ear. Now for the second ear, we join the ginger gold 3 stitches down from the stitch at the top. So this stitch here, and we work 5 chain. We work 1 slip stitch and 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. One half double crochet into the next chain and 1 single crochet into each of the last 2 chain. And slip stitch into the same stitch as our join, just in there, and fasten off. And that's the first part of the ear. Then we're going to join the topaz 2 stitches down from the join on the inside of the ear. I'm going to leave a long tail again to stitch it down. And work 1 slip stitch in each stitch to the point. Then work 2 chain and slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch just at the bottom of the ear there, and then 1 slip stitch into each of the next 2 stitches up the side of the ear, and then 1 single crochet into each of the remaining stitches in the side of the ear. Work 2 single crochet into the join, one single crochet into the next stitch, and slip stitch into the following stitch and fasten off. And that's the head done. For the nose, using the 110, the black, we make a magic loop. We work 1 chain, 1 single crochet into our circle, then work 1 chain and slip stitch into the circle, and then pull the circle tight and fasten off. I'm just going to leave a bit of a longer tail to stitch the nose down. So we've just got a little triangle. Now we'll start on the body. I've got my 179, the Topaz, and we start with 8 chain. For row 1, we miss the first chain and work 1 single crochet in each remaining chain. We'll have 7 stitches. For row 2, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of our 7 stitches. For row 3, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. And 2 single crochet into our last stitch. And then we work 8 chain. We're starting on the back part now, so 8 chain. For row 4, we work 2 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then we're going to work 1 single crochet in each of the remaining chain and then each of the stitches along the neck part. We'll have 17 stitches, so 1 single crochet in each remaining chain, and then 1 single crochet in each of our stitches. For row 5, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each stitch to our last stitch. We'll work 2 single crochet into the last stitch and we'll have 18 stitches. So 1 single crochet in each of the first 16 stitches, and work 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 6 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of the 18 stitches. For row 7 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches, and then we'll work 1 single crochet in each stitch to the last stitch. We'll work 2 single crochet in the last stitch and we'll have 18 stitches. So after the joined single crochet, work 1 single crochet in each stitch to the last stitch. And work 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 8 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 18 stitches. For row 9 we start with 2 chain and turn. We work 1 half double crochet into each of the first 9 stitches. And then 1 single crochet into each stitch to the end. We'll have 18 stitches. For row 10 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of the 18 stitches. For row 11, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. Then 1 single crochet into each stitch to the last stitch. We'll work 2 single crochet into the last stitch and we'll have 18 stitches. So after our joined single crochet, work 1 single crochet into each stitch to the last stitch. And work 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 12, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch. Then we'll work 1 single crochet in each stitch until we have 2 stitches left. We'll work a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches and we'll have 18 stitches. So after the 2 single crochet, work 1 single crochet in each stitch until there are 2 stitches left. And work a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 13, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches and then 1 single crochet in each stitch to the end. We'll have 17 stitches. And that's the body done. We're going to start on this back leg now. We start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 2 stitches and a joined single crochet over the next 2 stitches. For row 15 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 3 stitches. For row 16 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into the first stitch and a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 17 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 2 stitches. For row 18 we start with 1 chain and turn and work a joined single crochet over the 2 stitches. For row 19 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in the stitch. For row 20 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into the stitch. For row 21 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into the stitch. For row 22 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in the stitch. For row 23 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 2 single crochet into our stitch. And for row 24 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of the 2 stitches. And we fasten off. And that's the body and the back leg so far. I'll weave in these ends. This is the front side, and then I'll be back and we'll work this little tummy section and then do a neatening row around our piece. For this tummy part I've still got the topaz, and we join in the first stitch of row 13, so that stitch left there. For row 1 we start with 1 chain and we work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches, then 1 single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. And a joined single crochet over the following 2 stitches. For row 2 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches, then 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Now we're going to make a space to add this leg. So we're going to work 1 single crochet in the front loop only of each of the next 3 stitches. So this is the front loop here, that's the back loop. So 1 single crochet in the front loop only of each of the next 3 stitches. And a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. Now that's the tummy part done. We're going to work a neatening row now. We start with 1 chain and we turn our work, and Along this tummy section we're going to work one single crochet into the next stitch and then one chain, and repeat that across, a single crochet into the next stitch and one chain right across to the back leg. And then one chain and a single crochet into that last stitch. Now we're going to work one slip stitch in each stitch around this back leg, so up to about here, one slip stitch in each stitch. Now we're going to work one chain and slip stitch into the next stitch, and we'll repeat that till we get to the back, so just up to about there. So one chain and slip stitch into the next stitch. We just want a little bit more of a jagged edge for the fur. Now we work one slip stitch in each stitch along the back, up round the neck, and the first 5 stitches down the front. So one slip stitch in each stitch. Now we're going to work 2 chain and 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and we'll repeat that to the end of the row. 2 chain and 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And then just slip stitch into the top of the first stitch and fasten off. And that's the body and the back leg neatened. I'll just weave in this end and I'll be back and we'll work this leg here. Now for this near front leg, we're going to join in these stitches where we've left the loops. So this first loop here. Now I'm going to leave a long tail to work the neatening row around, just so I don't have so many ends. Now it depends how thick your yarn is you're working as to how long. I'll leave about this length. I'd rather have too much than not enough. I haven't worked one in this yarn. And we start with 1 chain. We work 1 single crochet in the same stitch as the join, and then 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. For row 2, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 3 stitches. For row 3, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each stitch. For row 4, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 3 stitches. For row 5, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 2 stitches and 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 6, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 4 stitches. For row 7, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 2 stitches and a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 8, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches and 1 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 9, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 2 stitches. For row 10, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 3 single crochet into the last stitch. That's for the foot. For row 11, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 4 stitches. And we fasten off. Now for the neatening row, we just bring our yarn through and we work 1 slip stitch into each stitch down this side along the bottom and just to the back of the foot, so about that stitch there. So 1 slip stitch in each stitch. Now we're going to work 1 chain and then slip stitch into the next stitch, and we'll repeat that to the end of the leg. 1 chain and slip stitch into the next stitch. And then we fasten off. And that's the near front leg done. I'll just weave in these ends and I'll be back and we'll work this far front leg. Now for the far front leg, we're still using the Topaz and we're going to leave a long tail again. And we join in the back loop only of our single crochet. It's about the second decrease, so it's about here, about 5 stitches back from this leg. So in about there. And we start with 3 chain. We work 1 double crochet in the same stitch as our join. That's a treble using UK terms. Then 1 half double crochet in the back loop of the next stitch and 1 single crochet in the back loop of each of the following 2 stitches. For row 2 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches, and 1 single crochet into each of the last 2 stitches. For row 3 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches and 1 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 4 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into the first stitch and 1 half double crochet into the last stitch. For row 5 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into the first stitch and 1 half double crochet into the last stitch. For row 6 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each stitch. For row 7 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 3 single crochet into the first stitch, that's for the foot, and 1 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 8 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each stitch. And we fasten off. And that's the leg unneatened. The neatening row is worked the same as this leg. We bring through a loop and work 1 slip stitch in each stitch to the back of the foot. And then work 1 chain and 1 slip stitch in the next stitch up to the end of the leg. And fasten off. And that's the 3 legs done. I'll weave in those ends and we'll be back and work that last leg. Now for the far back leg, I'm still working with the Topaz, and I leave a long tail again and join 4 stitches before the other back leg. I'll be working into the back loops again. We start with 1 chain and work 1 single crochet into the same stitch as the join, 1 single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch, and 1 half double crochet in the back loop only of the following 2 stitches. For row 2 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 3 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches and a joined half double crochet over the last 2 stitches. So we put the yarn around the hook, hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, then yarn around the hook, hook into the following stitch and bring up a loop, then yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. For row 4 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each stitch. For row 5 we start with 1 chain and turn and work a joined single crochet over the 2 stitches. For row 6 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into the stitch, and for row 7 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into the stitch. For row 8 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into the stitch, and then we work 3 chain for the foot. For row 9 we work 1 half double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook, and then we work 1 half double crochet into the stitch and we fasten off. And for the neatening row we bring up a loop of our topaz and just work 1 slip stitch in each stitch around to the back of the foot. And then work 1 chain and 1 slip stitch in each stitch to the end of the leg. and then fasten off. And if I have enough of a tail left, once I've woven it in, I'll just use that to stitch the tail down. So I'll just attach it there a bit and just leave it attached when I weave in these ends. Now for the tail, I've still got the 179, the Topaz, and we start with 10 chain. We work 1 slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, 1 half double crochet into the next chain, a joined half double crochet over the following 2 chain. We put the yarn around the hook, hook into the next chain and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, hook into the following chain and bring up a loop, then yarn around the hook and take our hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. Then we work 1 double crochet in each stitch to the end. A double crochet is a treble using UK terms. Then work 3 chain and slip stitch into that last chain. For the neatening row, we work 1 chain and 1 slip stitch in the next stitch, and we repeat that right around the tail, or at least to the end of the tail there. 1 chain and slip stitch into the next stitch. And then fasten off. And that's the tail done. Now for the blaze, you could either work it in the ginger gold or the old lace. I've got the 130 old lace, and we start with 9 chain. We slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, work 1 half double crochet into the next chain, 1 double crochet into the following chain, that's a treble using UK terms, and then 1 treble into each of the next 3 chain, that's a double treble using UK terms. For a treble we put the yarn around the hook twice, hook into the chain and bring up a loop. We've got 4 loops on the hook. We put the yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn through 2 loops, then yarn around the hook, hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops and yarn around the hook and hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops. We need one more treble in each of the next 2 stitches. One double crochet into the next stitch and 1 half double crochet into the last chain. Then work 1 chain and slip stitch into that last chain. Then work 1 chain and slip stitch into that first stitch and 1 chain slip stitch into the next stitch, 1 chain slip stitch into the following stitch. Now work 2 chain and slip stitch into the next stitch and repeat that to the second last stitch on this side we're working. Now we work 1 chain and slip stitch in the next stitch, and we repeat that down to the end of this second side. So 1 chain and slip stitch into the next stitch. And once we get to the end of the row, we fasten off. Now that's all the pieces worked. I'll just weave in the rest of the ends and I'll be back and we'll put it together. There's the pieces. I've got the body, the head, the blaze, the nose, the muzzle and the tail. The first things I'll do is attach the tail in behind the legs there and just sticking out a bit at the back like that. And I'll attach the nose to the muzzle just in there. I stitch just a little dash from the nose down to the mouth, just in there. Next I'll stitch the ears to the head. I leave them unstitched from about there, so the last few stitches are left free like that, and I'll attach the muzzle to the head. The black goes up against the black from the face part, so as even as you can, so in about there. Next we embroider eyes just near the top on each side of the muzzle and a little tongue just under the muzzle in the black section there. Now we'll attach the head to the body. just up in there. The last thing we do is attach the blaze just under the chin there, right up against it, and squash it down a bit. And down there I just stitch around that last row, not round the edge of the neatening row, so just round there so that that sticks up a bit. There's a finished golden retriever. The size is 11.5 centimetres wide by 12 centimetres, or 4.5 inches wide by 4 3/4 inches. If you've liked my video, please like, subscribe and share. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and Twitter. The details are in the description below, along with the details of my website where I have my patterns, the details of my Facebook group and the details of my Patreon. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.